Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. I hope that you are well. I hope that you've had a very good entry into 2024. And I trust that your dreams and your desires will all bear fruit this year. It's the first, it is Possible Tuesdays with Sanjo for 2024. And we have the right guest for the right moment. Uh, we normally start with our favorite Bible verse. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for prosperity and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am going to ask my guest to introduce herself. Tell us her name. Tell us a little bit about who she is, where she was born, where she went to school, and things like that. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Sanjo, for inviting me onto your show today. And
Welcome.
thank you. And my name is Jennipher Whitney, and I was born in a place called Guyana, which is in South America. But I came here when I was a baby, so I've had most of my education in the UK. I lived in an area called Hackney, and that's where I was brought up. I went to secondary school there, then moving on to college, where I did a nursery nursing course. I've always been interested in working with people. I think my mum spotted that because she was a childminder, and I was always interested in the children, and I really enjoyed looking after them. So when I finished school, I went on to college and I did a nursery nursing, but I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I felt I really wanted to do. But I did recall when I was in school, our teachers spoke about something, spoke about social work, and I said I'd like to do that, and my teacher said, "Well, that's not a kind of job that would be for you." So I was just really taken back by that. So I kind of, and she said something that they usually wear twin sets and pearls. So I didn't know what twin sets and pearls were, to be honest, when you're 15. I mean, because they're older people. But I discovered what twin sets and pearls were. They were a crew neck top and a cardigan, which was the same color and the same
Color.
and then they wear a pearl necklace. So that told me it was definitely a very middle class kind of profession. So that went out of my head. And then afterwards there was two areas. The other one was I wanted to do nursing. And my cousin, he said that he was going to be a doctor and I was going to be a nurse. Anyway, I followed through and I went and did nursing. But I didn't do general nursing. I specialized in working with people with learning disabilities and other. However, in my day, it was called mental subnormality. So
Yes.
now it's a learning disability it's called now. So that's the area that I trained in. And when I started, I worked in a 900 bedded establishment. 900 residents lived there. And this was in Surrey. That was the way how things were done then before the Griffiths report came out. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but that's what came out, said that people with learning disabilities should be in smaller group homes. And when I finished my training there, I then went on to work in a smaller group home in Hackney, which it was called Malpas Road. So following on from that, I still had that nagging in my head about the social work because when I was doing my training in Surrey, I went on a social work stint So I went around to the homes of families who had um, adults and, oops, sorry, I touched something, adults and children with disability. And that sort of still rested in my soul. So after leaving, so whilst I was at Malpas, a job came out in a voluntary sector, and I got the position there to work with children who were going for fostering.
Okay.
After moving on to that voluntary organization, they supported people from Black and ethnic minority to do the social work training. So I did that. And that was a real positive experience. And so I was able to combine my nursing, what I learned from working with disabled young people, and I could combine it with the social work, because with the medical, because the nursing was a medical model, so they were
Yes.
seen as being perpetually sick, and they
Mm.
never amount to very much, which in really didn't fit in with what I believed or thought of them. I thought that they can progress as long as they were given the right opportunities. So then I went on to social work, qualified in the 80s, early 90s, and that was my work for good years. I reached to service level, service manager level, where I managed three projects, and these were to do with children and young people with disabilities. And I thoroughly enjoyed doing that work. So whilst I was there, then I moved on to, because it wasn't never my real desire to work for the local authority, but the local authority took over the organization that I was working for. So I was kind of two-peed over. And from there, I went on to do independent reviewing officer, which meant that I reviewed the care plans for children to make sure that they were meeting their needs. It was an enjoyable job. It took me all over the place. But I must say that social work provided me with a lot of opportunities, because I worked internationally. I went to Italy, Spain, France, and that was an opportunity that was afforded to me by someone called Amma and NJ. And whilst I was doing the social work, I felt, well, this is good, but I, I want to be much more effective and communicate in a way that would help my clients, and to learn a little bit more. I still had that leaning towards the medical side, I would say, because, and it was at that point that I decided that I wanted to train in counseling, offering counseling services. So whilst I was working as a social worker, I also started the journey to do counseling, and that was with Lucia Hall, who, her husband Stephen and Lucia came over to the UK from America, and they started the um, counselling services within the Adventist community, and they started that. So I trained with them. I was one of the first cohort. How many years? Over 20, nearly 30 years ago, and now I've come to the point where I'm now a traumatologist, where my specialism is working with trauma, people who's experienced trauma. So that is, in a nutshell, my journey. And now that I've retired from social work, and I've got my own private practice where I see individuals who have experienced trauma. So that is my journey to where I
Interesting.
am. Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me a little bit about trauma? Because when people think trauma, they normally something that is vivid and um, they would think of a car crash or something like that. But is that the only way that we can see trauma?
No, that's not the only way that we can see trauma. So, trauma is an experience that somebody has that is life threatening and they think that they're going to die. So, that could involve a car accident. It
Yes,
could
yes.
be domestic violence. It could be, sexual abuse. Bullying is another one that people experience that is traumatic. So, and sometimes it could be emotionally, where
Yes.
a lot of ridicule, put down, you're not going to amount to anything, you're no good, all those sorts of things. So, that can impact individuals. Also, there's spiritual abuse, which could be also equally as traumatic. It's something that a lot of attention is not given to, but somebody can experience spiritual abuse, which has an impact, traumatic impact on the person.
Now, thank you for that, Jennifer. You've mentioned something that I want to explore a little bit more. Spiritual trauma. Um, how what does that look like? Can you give us an example? And how are we supposed to deal with that?
Mm. So, spiritual abuse could involve like coercion. The person is put down. It also could be that they take away your rights. Like sometimes people end up in these cult kind of situations where your rights are being taken away, and abuse occurs that is you know life threatening. Yeah.
Okay. Now, I know that quite a number of persons in church will say, you just need to pray about it. You know, if you're having a problem, just pray about it and have the faith. And once you have the faith, things will get better. Is that really so? And how can we help people to know the best route to take?
Okay. So often, I mean, prayer is good. I'm not going to take
Yes.
that away. Prayer is good. It's important. It's part of being a Christian, talking to God. But
Yes.
prayer is also an action word. So you need to take some action. So
Yes.
just
Yes. Yes.
praying about it and leaving it there and thinking that it's going to go away, it doesn't work. You do need to be
No. No.
proactive and to support individuals to be proactive in seeking
Yes.
help, seeking professional help,
Yeah.
because there are many people that are who have experienced trauma at the hands of their parents. It could be the pastor, it could be the elder, it could be any
And the
person within
member.
the community, and they're sitting there with all the symptoms of trauma. And yes, I'm praying about it, but you do need to seek professional help that will help you to overcome the traumatic experience that you've encountered.
I make um counseling, mental health more accessible
Uh,
community or the community or the Afro-Caribbean community.
I think with the African Caribbean community, there's sometimes is the thing, uh, you don't go and tell your people your business. don't you don't need to tell anybody your business. Let's keep it within the family. Let's try and deal with it within our family, which in there is room for that. But when somebody's experienced a traumatic experience, it's really important to get the help. So within the community, um, you have Cornerstone, um, you have other organizations that specialize in working with people, so it's best to try and seek out those services to help you rather than sitting there with it. Sometimes people are afraid because they're not sure what the response is, or they just don't know where to go or how to access. Your first port of call would be your GP, because the GP
Okay.
is the gatekeeper, and he would be the person, or they would be the person to be able to support you and help you to um, get the help that you need. So
And does that sorry, does
go
that
ahead.
help? Is it a referral that they would do? Do they do an assessment with you? What is involved?
So what is involved is that the GP will refer you to an organization. So they often refer you to, like, what is it? For
Is it
CBT.
CAMS?
Yeah,
Ah,
CAMS is for CAMS is for
young
young people. So
young
child
people, yeah,
and mental health.
adolescent,
So
yeah,
CAMS is that's what that's for, and the GP will send you to other organisations, local organisations that can
yeah.
support you. So they will know the services that are local to you, and they will make a referral, generally to the NHS, really.
Okay. And do they offer um, support in the form of somebody going with you to these meetings or these assessments, or do you um, get the referral and then make your way?
Well, what can happen is that you can go on your own, or you can take somebody with you if that's what would be best for you. The GP doesn't
Yes,
necessarily, what the GP will assess, he will see if there's some anxiety, some depression, and he will make a referral accordingly. Um, and it's the service provider that's going to assess to see what your condition is, what is the problem, and they will take it from there.
yeah,
But generally,
okay,
it, it's anxiety and depression, and if it's further, then you have the psychiatrist. They may make a referral to the psychiatrist, because they're
yes,
the persons that diagnose um,
okay.
issues. Yeah, they diagnose and they prescribe medication as well.
Do you think that within our church, and I'm speaking about the Seventh-day Adventist Church, do you think that we have done enough to work on our mental health as a body? Or would you say that there's more for us to do? And what would you suggest that we do?
Well, I think they have started. I mean, because they've got Cornerstone that offers that service, but I think we could do more. I
Yes,
think we could certainly talk about it more, encourage people to talk about their mental health and not see as a taboo, or to be dismissive about somebody with mental health. People need to be informed how to approach and treat individuals who's got mental health problems, because sometimes um, the response is, I would say, is quite poor,
yes,
um, in the sense that if somebody comes in and they have a mental health condition, people tend not to want to be
interact with them.
next to them or interact with them or try to understand, because it is, they have their own challenges, and we don't really need to be adding to it in terms of the church. So I think more information needs to go out to the churches or people who have that knowledge and about mental health, you know, to you know enlighten the church. And we have different departments within the
The
organization
church.
that they could highlight that and make that more of a profile, um, not just
Yes.
on a one-day basis. I think we
Yes.
could do it much more regularly and consistently and meaningfully, because we could do it like a tick list. Well, oh yes, we've covered
Yeah.
awareness, we've covered learning disability, we've covered people who are depressed, anxiety. Oh yes, we've done all of that. But
And
no,
then,
that is not enough. We need to be consistent in doing that. And I think we at this juncture have an opportunity um, where we can push these issues forward, talk about them,
Lord.
create
Yes.
an
Yes.
environment where people can feel that they can come and just be open about their mental health issues. It's the lack of understanding. It
Yes.
really,
Yes.
yeah. And I think I can speak from personal experience in that my son has a mental health condition, and I think that from his experience and what he said, there could have been a lot more understanding and some empathy, people putting themselves in his shoes. Yeah.
I'm going to posit that people behave the way they do because they are ignorant of what they are because they have to be cutting through barriers of years of taboo or stigma associated with mental health, and because they may be having mental health issues. And I think we should all recognize that we all have mental health.
Yeah, we're just
So
on a
sometimes it's good. Yes, and we just need to know that it's something that we all go through, and
spectrum.
that there are different ways to handle it. And I
Mm,
think the more we talk about it and the more we inform people about it, the quicker the help will be made available to those, especially in the church, especially from the Afro-Caribbean background or the West Indian background.
mm. Yeah, I would agree with you. It's us, um, about it becoming more of a priority in some
Yes,
ways, and us
yes,
talking about it, creating that environment and that space where people can come together to talk about their issues, because um, there there are many. I mean, uh, my experience has told me there are many families who have they know there's somebody within their family that has a mental
um,
health issue, but
yes,
they wouldn't talk about it because of fear of how they would be seen,
yes, yes.
because of fear of how people may react. People may not be as sensitive to them as a result of having, somebody within their family who has mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah,
And and it's sad because the church should be the safe place.
yeah, yeah.
The church should be safe where everybody should feel comfortable to speak about where they are in their journey and expect to receive help, which is not judgmental. And I think we have a lot to do in helping our congregations to recognize to do, and we need to start now. I think we have been well, and I think it's something that all the churches should be doing on a regular basis. Make it a program, as you said, not a it should be involved in all aspects of our church ministries.
Yeah,
Um, Life is difficult now.
yeah,
Being rehoused, some of their, so there are quite a number of things that people are going through, and they should feel safe and comfortable enough to talk about it,
yeah,
help from the
yeah.
church.
Well, we need to create those spaces. The church needs to create those spaces where people can feel free to talk about mental health issues, and it has to start from the top as well, and because we can become a trauma informed organization, and starting right at the top, the leadership, and coming right down to the members. We
I'm
can
so
have
sorry.
two two-way approach from the top, bottom, and everybody becoming
Yeah.
trauma informed and about mental health issues. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Jennifer, if you had a magic wand, if you had a magic wand, what would you what would you do with your magic wand as it relates to trauma, mental health, well-being?
Well, that's quite a big area. That's quite a lot. But like I said, I think we need to start informing right from the top of the organization. I think so. Some work from the top of the organization, middle, and also members, because if everybody becomes aware, then we will have a better way of, we'll create that space. It will become open to others. I think also that in on a church, in a local level, they can be identified persons who have been trained in for, they've got first aid for mental health, who've received some training in that area, so that they can be available. But it's not just those first aiders, but it's the church body. It's every
Yes.
member within the community, regardless of which church community you come from. Every member
Yes.
has responsibility to to
Yes.
to the next person.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
my view. I think if we all became informed and aware, then we can better meet the needs. We'll have more understanding, we'll have more compassion, and we'll meet the needs of others.
I am thinking about the fact that quite a number of persons have experienced grief recently. I think in the last 3 years since COVID, we have had a lot of deaths, a lot of separation, a lot of um, bereavement. We have actually dealt with it. I don't know if people have gone through the different stages of grieving. And I don't think there are people who recognize that everybody grieves differently, you know. What would your advice be as it relates to how we are handling grief and bereavement? And what would you advise us to do if it's different from what you've said before?
Well, I think with grief and bereavement, you're quite right. Everybody grieves differently. And whilst there may be the stages of grief, people don't follow it like in a linear way. It they pop in and out of those different stages. So I would suggest, what would be, because I with COVID, I think even in that it was quite traumatic, for
Yes,
impacted everybody, because in your church
yes,
community so many people died during COVID. And
yes,
as an
yes,
organization, yes, we acknowledged it in churches that this person died, but what
yeah,
support was given? how did we come together? How one of the things that I think I'm noticing, as mm, I, one of the things is that I think COVID has caused this as well, that we become a little bit more I than we. Let me put it that
Yes, yes,
where we
yes.
look after ourselves because we don't have the confidence or trust that somebody else could help us.
Help us.
More of a we approach, a community
Yes.
approach. We could have
We
had,
moved away from that.
yeah,
Yes.
I think we could have had, and we still can, like a bereavement group where people
Yes.
could have come together and be supported that way. I think that's what we could have done, had a bereavement group where somebody, led out in that and supported and met regularly, because
Yes.
some people were widowed, so were isolated.
Yes.
Some
Yes.
some people um, lost children and brother, sister, cousin, and I don't know about anybody else. It was just like relentless during that
Yes.
time. It was
Yes.
relentless.
Yes.
The church
Yes.
opened up, but no space was given to that
Yeah.
grieving,
Yes.
because
Yes.
many people were grieving. And
Yes.
I think if we had opened our when we opened up, that we had time dedicated where we came together and we talked about
Talked
our
about it.
and the impact it had on us, what needs we could have been met as a result. Even somebody recently um, said to me, "Oh, it would have been lovely if we had a retreat."
Uh-huh.
Church provided like a little retreat, um, so that people can just go away, relax, come together, share, and just be, because that's what we need sometimes,
Yes.
just someone to be there for us, just be. And that was something that I think we can still do that. Um,
Exactly.
we can still do that,
Exactly.
because it COVID isn't that it's not that far away, and people are still grieving.
No. Yes. Yes. I we talk a lot about the church being a hospital. We talk about the church being a safe haven, but we don't always put it into practice. And sometimes it's because we don't know how. And
Mm.
I think we need to remind everybody that we are all on a journey,
Yeah,
and we continue to learn every day, and we need to make ourselves available to the opportunities to learn, so that we know how best to navigate the future, and the different experiences that we'll encounter, but also to how to deal with the past experiences, because quite often our past come, returns to bite us, because we have unresolved issues, we
yeah,
haven't dealt with them before. Um, and I think you spoke about mental health first aiders, and it's something that we see schools becoming more involved in, and training their support staff to work with the students around mental health, because quite a number of our students
yeah,
are depressed, they're anxious, they are they lack resilience.
mm,
They are so bereft of strength, um, and they've gone through quite a lot of trauma. You might have students who have lived with their parents, and they're taken away from their parents. Because they have to go into care, because based on the criteria, they're not meeting the criteria. We may have students who have been groomed and exploited, and they don't even realize that they're groomed and exploited, because they think it's my friend, it's my new community. And I think it's to, within the home, ensure that we are speaking into our children, so that they recognize that they are enough, and that they don't need to go outside to be validated. We need to speak into them so that they can be strong and say no, and stand by it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying in terms of speaking into our children's lives to help them to navigate this difficult terrain that we're living in these days. And what we need to do is to seek out and help that young person. But sometimes what happens is, if as an adult you yourself do not
No,
know,
you don't have the skills.
no, it's difficult for you to then impart that onto someone else.
Yeah.
That may be because of their own difficult times that they've had in their own childhood. So
Yes.
it then just keeps repeating, but it can be broken with
Mhm.
support and help. And I think also, we're, like you were saying, that we can um, help each other. Those of us who know, we can become proactive in our church to help others to understand. Like there could be
Yes.
some, you know, parenting programs that we can
Yes.
uh,
Yes.
come, and it's not just for the church, but the community.
The community. Yes.
Open
Yes.
it up
Yes.
to the community. Um, and also, if a family, if a parent who's experienced trauma themselves, unless that has been addressed, they can also repeat. The child could experience. It could be repeated
Repeated. Yes. Yes. Yes.
because of what has happened, because the parent or parents are not able to support the child
Yes.
as to meet their specific needs.
Needs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Um, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you, and I'm thinking, um, we where our church is, we are in a prime location because we're near to the high street. We have a school at the bottom of our road. That's a primary school. We have a secondary school just across from the road, and we have apartments around us. So that we can um, facilitate to
You're freezing a bit, or is it
make
me freezing?
ourselves available.
I didn't hear what you just said, Sanyo, because you're freezing, or is it me freezing?
Yeah,
I'm not.
I'm saying no. I think it's the system.
Okay.
I think it's the system. Are you hearing me now, Jennifer?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the system is playing myself.
yeah.
Yeah, or church community, we have quite a number of persons that we can reach out to and make ourselves available to them and say to them, we want to share some things with you. Come in and attend, do an assembly with your students, or do some voluntary work with your students, or would you like us to come in and talk?
I think Sanyo's just gone off.
uh, oh, I tell you, the internet is not behaving today at all. Um, Sorry about that, everybody. I am not well, and the internet is not well today. But I think there is much that we can do, and I think we can sit down and come up with a plan on how we can reach the community, starting with our church first, and then opening it out to the local community so that they can come to us and know that we are a safe place for them and they can get some help from us. That might mean that we might do um, and how easy would it be for us, the church, to do training in mental health? It be for the church to become mental health first?
First aiders. I think you know there are there are there are a lot of courses around first aid for mental health that is available that people can join. And I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
yeah, I, I think that is a place that people can start. The church also can provide and fund that for individuals because they are,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how many mental health first aiders they are within our community. And I think they also can share their knowledge and do something within the church. But it really does need to start. We need to start within and
Yes,
and
yes, definitely. In
provide that.
reach and then outreach.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
in reach
and
and then outreach.
yeah,
Yes.
and also we can do it jointly. We could put churches can advertise
Collaborate.
that this is something that we'll be providing, and community members can come and join. You know, because there's
Yes,
many
yes,
times
yes.
that we can put something on, and the community can come and engage
Benefit.
with the program because there are people. I mean, and oftentimes people, around this time of the year, they're always seeking and looking for
For
ways to
support.
improve themselves, and I
Yes,
think this is an opportunity that
easily
we
that
miss.
time.
Yeah, we miss it because we can begin to advertise, because oftentimes people are looking at January. What can I do? My New Year resolution. I want to improve myself in some way, and
Yes, different.
we can do that. So there's key points in the year when we
Yes,
can
yeah.
do put on short, courses, introductory courses to, launch
Yes,
people off into different areas. It's
yes,
also helping to provide the community with um, an opportunity, because people are unemployed and um,
yes,
and looking for another. Sometimes people are trying to change direction, and
yes,
this is a really rewarding way of working with people, because when you come along somebody on their journey and see
yes,
growth from A to Z is amazing.
yes,
And
yes,
like I said, I've experienced that personally with somebody that came along, my son from church, and this is 10 years, and they are still involved
so,
in, in
yeah,
his life. And that takes a lot of commitment,
commitment.
and
Yes,
somebody who really cares about other individuals,
compassion.
and
Yes,
and has compassion. And that person stayed
yes,
with my son. Well, he's still involved.
yes, yes,
My
yes, yes,
And any one of us could do that. Any
yes,
one of us
yes,
could do that.
yeah,
Identify somebody, get close to somebody, befriend somebody, and
yes,
and stick with them. That's what we
yes,
need. A
yes,
lot of people are missing that in their lives, where somebody's committed to
to them.
them and be with them in throughout their journey. Yeah, it's frozen again.
Have any family. And
Yeah.
so every Sabbath afternoon, I would visit her, and she was a Roman Catholic, and we'd go to Wood Green so that she could light her candles and say her prayers. But she looked forward to my visits on a Sabbath afternoon. She taught me some Greek words. Don't ask me what they are now, and taught me to do a puzzle, crisscross puzzle, which I still enjoy doing now. But there are people in our community who just need a befriender. They just need somebody to be there, to visit them, for them to reach out to, for them to look forward to. And that's
And
That
that's all
doesn't take
part of
anything.
yeah, and that's all part
Yes,
of mental health and well-being. Um,
yes. Community.
yeah, because coming visiting somebody on a regular basis,
Yes,
that
yes.
that helps with their mental health, their well-being. They have something to look forward. It adds
Forward to. Yeah.
purpose. It's a two-way thing, because for the
Yes.
individual that's visiting and is committed, it adds meaning and purpose to their life, and it also adds meaning for that person and give them a purpose, because they
Purpose. Yes.
somebody's coming to see me, somebody's interested in
Yes.
me,
Yes.
somebody values me, and
Yes.
a lot of that is sometimes what's missing, because people
Proceed. Yes.
you want to be
'Cause-
a significant other to somebody, not
yes.
necessarily in marriage as
No,
such,
no.
just as a friend,
Right.
significant to somebody. Somebody cares about me,
Yes.
and
Yes.
that's
Yes.
really key. Yeah.
Yes. Jen, I am happy that we have been able to talk today, and I'm happy you've given us quite a number of things to listen to. You've spoken to us about people can make progress with the right opportunities. We need to have support for those who are bereaving. We can go to the GP who would do the referral, but it's a lot about being informed and being aware and creating the open space. And the idea is that compassion needs to drive what we do.
Yeah.
If you were to take the name of this podcast, it is possible. How would you possible?
How is it possible with, say that again? Uh, yeah. Could you repeat what you said, Sanya?
Yes. So how would you use the phrase "it is possible" in your own life?
Oh, it in my own life, it is possible
Yes.
to reach and support and help others. It is possible, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it it is my life's passion and work to support people on their journey. When I start working with somebody and to see the growth that they make right through when they leave, because I generally say to them, I'm working for you to be out of this office. I don't want you to stay here. And when
Yes. Yes.
um, to see that new person, to see the person that God wanted them to be, is just amazing. It's just
Yes. Yes.
so satisfying. It I just get so much pleasure and joy from working with people and seeing them meet their goal that they've set for themselves. That's my
Fully
joy.
and wonderfully made, and
Yeah, it's
we
possible.
can help them to that.
Yeah, to
It is
help
possible.
heal those broken parts, those that happens because of life sometimes. It's possible. Just come alongside
Yes.
somebody. And we could do it
Yes.
many different ways. Just being there
Ways.
for someone,
Yes.
sitting with them, showing an interest in someone, with children, with
Yes.
adults, just showing a genuine interest in their well-being, be friends.
Yes. 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 Jen, um, finish, I do have a segment which I call Tuesday's Treasure Trove, and I have a very special person who wants to say something to you, and I hope that Philip can bring that up soon. Philip, are you there? I hope it's going to
Hello.
come up soon.
I've been
Yes.
asked to say what Jennipher Whitney means to me. So, Jen Whitney is my friend and has been since childhood. We met at Stokey Church when we were about 9 or 10 years old. So now it's considered a lifetime of friendship. As teenage girls, we got into all manner of trouble for chewing and chatting in church and passing notes and giggling. We've outgrown that stage. And I personally am grateful to Jen for introducing me to my lifetime career. I had no inclination of going into nursing until Jen did, and she was having such fun. I thought I was missing out, so joined up too. Now we're grown ups and we're grannies. And I personally cherish the time that we share as prayer partners. So Jen's been my friend for a lifetime. She's been my friend through all seasons of life. And I'm honoured to call her my friend. That's who she is. She's my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Wilma.
Uh, I thought you would enjoy that. I thought you'd enjoy that. I thought you'd enjoy that. Jen, it has been quite rewarding talking with you, listening to the great points that you've shared with us. And I'm hoping that we can move from just talking about it
Yeah,
and actually work on creating something for our community in the future. Hopefully, we can start it in 2024. We may not finish it, but we'll start it in 2024, and we hope to see it grow where we are making an intentional effort to reach the community around mental health and
yeah,
well-being.
yeah, yeah,
Thank you ever so much, Jen.
yeah,
I know that our listeners have been informed and inspired, and they have enjoyed your journey. I just want to say to everybody, thank you very much for being with us. And my apologies that I have been wiping my nose because today I have just been sniffling, and I'm so sorry, but I hope you'll forgive me. But it is Possible Tuesdays. We've had our first session. I want to say thank you for coming. I want to say thank you for being or listening in. And I just want to remind you that you must be a dreamer, a doer, and a thinker. See possibility everywhere. And remember, because you are alive, everything is possible. But Jesus beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, with God all things are possible. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and have a good evening.